Hi friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Caitlin and let's do a garden tour. Well friends, it has been about 2 weeks since we've been in the garden together and there is so much happening. I'm struggling. I feel like I struggle every single year with feeling like I'm a failure. And not for my normal reason though. I have a lot of weeds. We're gonna talk about that in a second. But there is so much food growing. This is full of broccoli and like baseball sized kohlrabi. I have a whole big thing of sweet potatoes doing wonderful. I have like a whole bunch of cabbages in here, strawberries. There is so much food in this garden and I'm actively eating the food from this garden already. But I feel like I've lost so many plants that I feel like a failure. So let's talk about it. So before we even get started, I thought I had such a good year starting my seeds. I got everything to germinate. I think the only thing I didn't get to germinate were cabbages. And then for some reason, I lost almost all of my starts. I look around at my garden and I bought almost everything. So many things were outside of my control. My broccoli, I grew all of my own broccoli. I had beautiful broccolis and they went straight to seed the second I put them outside. It was like 45 degrees and they went to seed. I've never had broccoli do that, but every single one did that. My potatoes, I put potatoes in the ground. We didn't even get that much rain and they were rotted. I don't really know how that happened. My onions, I got new onion seed. I started onions. One whole variety of onions did not germinate. I had to buy onions. Cabbages, I put them in. I only got a couple of cabbages. I had to go supplement my cabbages. I just feel like for somebody that said, oh, I start all my own plants, I bought a lot of plants. My peppers, I started all my favorite pepper varieties. Beautiful plants, little plants, but solid plants. Heat instantly killed them. Like, I'm just like, I feel like I'm just not a good gardener. But then I look around at all the food in my garden and I'm like, well, you're doing something right. So I think at this point I have a 50% success rate. So I went to the beach. I was gone for a week. What did I come back to? Let's talk. So in this bed right behind me, this was my onion bed. Onions that should look like that. Do you see a lot of that in there? How about, well, you can't see. In that bed right there, do you see a lot of onions in that bed there? The answer is no. So I guess when I was on vacation, a bird plucked my onions. So I don't have very many. These are my nicest ones. And you can see I probably have about maybe 20 back in there. Not a lot. And the other bed, which was all red onions that I started, I have maybe 10. Maybe 10. So coming back and seeing that I lost my entire onion harvest essentially was depressing. It was depressing. You can't do anything about it. So that's what it is. my broccoli. Ugh. So this bed here is my broccoli and my kohlrabi. That'll come out in about the next month. When that comes out, I'm gonna go to my local nursery and I'm gonna buy new broccoli starts to try again for a fall garden. This will be like the 10th year in a row trying for a fall garden. We're gonna see. But if they still have onion starts, I'm gonna buy more onion starts. See if I can put shade cloth over them and try to get a fall harvest of onions. Here, I'll show you the other bed. I am so wildly disappointed that I lost my onions. So this was full of red onions, and now you got a little cluster up there. So that's really upsetting. And then these, I planted bush green beans along the whole sides, and so far we'll see what those are doing. I have a feeling, actually I think it might be a morning glory and not a vine, but this is 100% a vine-in bean plant. All of these bush beans that I planted, I think are vines. Not ideal, not what I wanted, not what I paid for, not what I asked for, but unfortunately that's what we get. So I'd rather have some green beans than no green beans, especially, let's come over here. Yeah, this is my green bean trellis. It is in my green bean trellis every single year, and I have thrown so many green bean seeds in the ground, none of them have germinated. What I typically do is I take, if I have any on here, I take whatever is left on here in the spring from the previous year and I just throw those beans in the ground. That has always worked for me. This is the first year that is not working for me. However, right here, what I might have just accidentally pulled, this is a volunteer green bean from that trellis from last year. So we'll see what he does. But I'm not too upset about this. So this has been my green bean trellis for years, and it's worked out great. I love it. It's fantastic. I have no complaints. My only thought is now, because it stays kind of like this most of the year, do I want to plant something like that flowers on it? Instead of doing vine and green beans, do I want to do like some sort of arbor rose? I'm mulling that over. I feel like that might be really pretty. I do have a wisteria growing on that arch. I germinated from my mother's wisteria last year, and she is coming. So I'm like, grow baby grow, take over that whole arch. So now will be the prettiest purple flowers. So I'm kind of thinking like a little pink rose might be nice there. I'm mulling it over. I'm taking this as a sign. If my green beans don't germinate, you need some sort of flower. So we'll see. But because now I had all of this space in this bed, my mom was getting rid of a whole bunch of potatoes that had started to sprout on her. So she's gonna throw them in the woods. And I was like, oh, hey, I'll take them. So I threw them in the ground within the past week. It's June something or other, middle of June. So I threw them in the ground in hopes that maybe they grow me some potatoes. Speaking of potatoes, so here is our potato row. Not looking the greatest. I have a lot of holes. So before I slow walk you down here, I planted my own potatoes. They rotted. Then I bought $10 worth of seed potatoes. Well, I'll show you what I got. So they germinated and are growing me, but I feel like I have a lot of like openings. I feel like I didn't have this many openings when I planted my potatoes. So we'll see. They go the whole way down here, and then behind them I do have some kidney beans that I started that are largely getting eaten. I struggle every year planting beans. I've got a couple. I should probably go replant my beans because they got eaten. I struggle every year because things eat the beans as soon as they germinate. So I should go replant my beans. Maybe I'll do that, try to do that in the morning. I did find I had a mama bunny and baby bunnies that had a nest in the garden. So I think I lost a lot of plants to them. So we're gonna way down. Now let's talk about the weeds. We're gonna go back to things that we've lost, but we're gonna talk about weeds. I went to the beach for a week. I had this pretty much in order before I left. Came back, weeds grew. And then it got, I think we had, not quite a week, but we had a couple of days where it was like 95-degree temperatures and like, I don't know, 100% humidity. I, as of recently, apparently have asthma. I'm highly offended at that. But my asthma is triggered by heat, so I never know if it's just like a me thing or if it's like an everybody thing. Well, everyone told me on these couple of days that it was just unbearable. Nobody could breathe outside. So at least it's not just a me thing. So me and my dad especially were like, we're not doing anything outside, we're staying inside. So I could care less about weeds when I can't breathe. So today's a beautiful day, and of course everyone wants to be out talking today. So my neighbors came over, they sat on the porch with me for like an hour, and I'm like, I have so much I need to do. But hanging out with friends is much more fun than pulling weeds, so I'm not gonna complain. So I came out here, I planted my new cherry bush. I'll talk about that in a second, but I do have some weeding that I need to do, and we're just gonna do that here and there over the next, hopefully, week, try to get caught up. It looks like a lot, it's not. I weeded this whole path, and I weeded the windmill garden 2 days ago, and that took me like maybe 25 minutes. Weeding doesn't take long, it's just so not fun to do. Okay, talking about more plants we've lost, here is my pepper row. Okay, so obviously my weeding has stopped here. I do need to come and weed all of this, so we're gonna ignore that. But this is the first row of peppers. These are my orange yummies. These are the ones that died as soon as I planted them, and I had to go get replacements. So these are the replacements. They look stunning. Next row is my banana peppers. Largely they're doing, every hole had a plant, and every hole that doesn't have a plant means it got plucked or it got eaten. So these were bananas, and then here is my red bells. These are looking really good. Almost every single plant is still there, looking really good. And then this section, these holes were all orange bells. So you can see out of all those holes, I have that one there, all empty, all empty. And then I had purple bells up here. Purple bells, I might have one there. That might be a bell, that might be a pokeweed. I don't really honestly know at this point. That is a purple bell, and I think that's a purple bell too. I need to pull that thistle. And then over here was my jalapenos, and I'm hoping they can come back. Bunnies like these, I guess. So I'm hoping I don't know if that one has much of a chance. A girl can hope. So I'm hoping they come back. But these are the only 3 jalapenos that I planted. And normally 3 jalapenos is more than enough for me. More than enough. But I lost all 3. So, I lost easily, including the orange gummies, I lost over half of the bells, or half of the peppers that I started. And it's just really making me feel like a big failure. I know, there's still food in this garden, but I like 100% success rate. Whenever something fails, especially in the beginning, I was like, I'm learning, I'm new, I'll figure it out. And I recognize, I can tell other people that things are beyond your control. Animals, pests, nature, sun, rain, wind, it's outside your control. But now as an experienced gardener, and I don't make excuses, so I'm not going to just say, oh, it was just the weather. No, it's because you suck. So I'm really struggling with like not thinking I'm a complete and utter failure. I do this every single year. Don't feel bad for me. I do this every single year. And I just like boo-hoo-hoo because I'm the worst. And then I'm overladen with food. But I don't get as much food as I thought I was going to get. But speaking of much food, how much food I'm getting, let me show you my peas. This has been a marvelous pea year. Look at this pea bush. I mean, good Lord have mercy. Look at these guys. I need to come, obviously he needs picked. I just did a picking on these, I think last night actually, but we need to do another one. So I have this gorgeous pea bush, which is taller than the trellis. When you actually stand those up, they're taller than the trellis. And then over there, I have another pea trellis. This one's not looking as great, but it's still producing a healthy amount of peas. So I think last year I had a good pea harvest, not great, good. The year before I had a dismal, and the year before I had excellent. So I've struggled with peas a little bit. I'm not really sure why. Again, I'm not really sure why. I feel like it's just, I don't feel like I did anything differently this year. Well, I know I didn't, but we're having great success with peas. So I'm loving eating these every single day. Also freezing these for the freezer, because this is a great little snack for the middle of winter. Another thing that is doing great that you can't really see too well is, I can see the dirt on my face, is my tomatoes. So here at the end of my potato row, you can see, barely make out, there's triangle shaped leaves are tomatoes. These are my true Cherokee purples. Back in this thistle mess, which is next to get cleaned out, I have a cucumber. Right there is that's leaf. And then there's my pickle. And then back in here, this is like I said, the next area of Whedon. I have a little tomato right there, and a little tomato right there, and then here starts the row. So there's one there, 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 there. So now you can actually kind of stand here, and even though there's a lot of weeds, you can see down and see most of the tomatoes. So like there's a big one, there's a smaller one, there is a small one in there I can see, but that one's really small. There's a smaller one, but decent size. And then here, small one. And then right there is my last one. So again, a lot of weeding that needs to happen here. Here is my wisteria. I'm like this. I'm so excited that came back. So I'm like grow, grow, grow. And then moving on to this whole section. So one of the things I also had to do when it comes to weeding is I'm just spraying the thistle. I've recognized that I cannot fight the thistle myself, and I need to spray the thistle. So I am spraying. Dad whipped me up thistle, but I had to wait for the proper day to do it. I had to get the poison from him. I had to, there were a couple of days they were calling for rain within like 2 hours of the time that I was able to go spray. So like I get home from work, if they're calling for rain at 6, I'm not gonna go spray at 4, you know? So I had to kind of find the right time. I finally got out here. I sprayed, I think 2 or 3 days ago, and I instantly saw everything kind of start dying. And so I want to leave it, just, I don't really know how poison works, but I'm like, let me spray and let me leave it on and leave the plant attached so that poison can get down in the roots and kill the whole thing, and then I'll go pull it out. So that's my plan. Every thistle in this garden has been sprayed now for the most part, unless it's like right next to a plant that I want. So now we just gotta wait for it to die, and then I can yank her out. Over here by Miss Bessie the cow, I have my Roma tomatoes. I just looked at them. I think I planted 5. I lost, I think, 3. I don't know how. And then I planted 3 more. And now I think I have this one here, which is doing really good. I hope this doesn't change. I hope I don't jinx it. This one is doing so good right there. That one in there is gone. And then this one is really small. I don't know if you can see her down there. You can't. She's really small. And I think these 2 are completely gone. So I might have, when all is said and done, one Roma tomato. And then in this mess, I also have one zucchini. Oh, I have a zucchini over there. The things I could have lost, like I normally only need 2 zucchini, maybe 3. I could have lost a zucchini, but no, they're hanging on, which I'm not complaining about. But if we're sacrificing plants, the Romas were not the ones we were sacrificing. The Cherokee purples are actually the top on the list, but after the Cherokee purples, the Romas. We want the Romas. Okay, and then in here is my sweet potato patch. This is actually looking really good. The weed fabric is obviously working, and then I sprayed all back in there. That's just all thistle. This bed is my worst bed for weeds. I need to come, obviously, say less, Caitlin, weed it. But in here I do have some cabbages that are small that are coming, and then somewhere in there is also a whole bunch of volunteer potatoes. It's right there, volunteer potatoes, and my black hollyhock. For whatever reason, this bed, which you completely lose in the weeds, is the next bed that's getting replaced. For some reason, this bed grows weeds like nobody's business. And it just becomes absolutely unruly. So I will come pull everything out of here as I'm working my way through the garden weeding process. But that bed is the next one that I'm gonna replace with like the green one I have up there for my asparagus. I'm just tired of losing, the whole thing. And this is why you don't weed, okay? I just pulled a weed out of my kohlrabi bed. Weed. Oh, I pulled a little kohlrabi with it. So I'm gonna leave him sit there because the kohlrabi is still attached to the dirt and see if that grows. But this is the broccoli kohlrabi bed. The broccoli rabe I just cut yesterday, and it's doing a good little showing. It's still probably not as much as I would have gotten just off of fresh broccoli heads, but I still am out here cutting. And then the kohlrabi in between the weeds is growing. Like that I think is the biggest one, and that's between a golf ball and a tennis ball. So they're growing. And then in this bed is also the Jerusalem artichoke. This is not what I wanted to grow here. It's kind of just, I got an artichoke plant thinking it was like a legitimate artichoke, and it was a Jerusalem artichoke, which is a sunchoke. It's like a little sunflower, and it does grow artichokes, but they grow in the soil. So I thought I dug them all out, and I obviously didn't, because there is a ton. The whole thing is all Jerusalem artichokes. So when the broccoli and kohlrabi come out in about a month, less than a month, I'm gonna take everything out of that bed, the Jerusalem artichokes, I'm gonna take all of that out and then try to replant that for the fall. Now we're kind of just in regular weedy area. This is a strawberry bed. I am going in between the thistle to see what strawberries I can pick. I am getting strawberries. I've had enough to make, I made a cobbler. And the second one I think I just ate with like my lunch one day. It's like a big bowl of strawberries and a little bit of sugar. So they at least provided, not what they should have provided, but I need to figure out, I don't know what I'm doing there. I have no idea. And then these broccoli beds, they're growing. They're growing. So we'll see if they actually give me cool broccoli or not. But yeah, I think that's everything in the garden. The asparagus garden needs weeded back there, but that grew me a lot of baby asparagus. I didn't harvest any of it, but it I think will be great next year once they're nice and established. And then of course my daylilies. You cannot forget my beautiful daylilies that are blooming, that I'm so in love with. So the garden is both wild and beautiful and hectic and crazy. So I need to get it wrapped up, but I'm excited to be home, and I'm excited for cooler days to hopefully get some of this work done. I need to work on my attitude because I'm feeling like a little bit of a failure, and I need to not feel like that because some things are out of your control. but that's a problem for another day. For now though, let's just look at these guys and how pretty they are. So I just want to show you guys what the garden's looking like. I got a lot of food coming in, a lot more to come, and I'm excited. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye friends.